first one that somebody asked me is, how do you deal with depression? And my answer was different because, listen, depression is different for everyone, I believe. You know, I think, I don't know what causes it. I'm not like a doctor. I don't know how to cure it. I'm not like a doctor. But one thing I know for sure is it's different for everyone, and the best way to look at it, if you want it to be solved, is think about somebody who has nothing, right? Somebody who lives like in a third world country. That's how they love putting it. And somebody who just, goes through such a hard time that they just can't deal with, the troubles of life. Somebody who doesn't have food, somebody who doesn't have the insurance, somebody who doesn't have money to even pay for a therapist. Now, if you think about that person, I like to think about depression from that perspective, than the perspective of somebody who has insurance, somebody who has the ability to go to a doctor, but they just choose not to. These are two different people. And so if you think about depression, I try to think of it from the person who has nothing. How do they deal with it? And if they can solve it, and if they can make it work, then you can too, and everyone else can. I just happen to have been raised in a place where there was a lot of these kind of people that I'm talking about, and somehow they always made it work. So yeah, I just do think it's just how you view things, and how you think about solving your problems. And when you have the victim mentality, it's really hard to separate that. But I think it's just good to say, okay, well, I'm going to work on this one by one. So yeah, whoever asked that question, I don't want to say the name, but I just think depression for every single person is different. It's caused by something different. And for me in life, I will say this. When I have friends, and I tend to make a lot of acquaintances, I don't really have many friends, but I tend to make a lot of acquaintances. The biggest problem with most of these things is we tend to not talk a lot. And we tend to have a lot of very, very half conversations, hi, how are you doing? Good. I think when you have a lot of those, and you don't really have concrete relationships, then your insides start to crumble. At least that's how I felt. And so sometimes, when I have a lot of these relationships with people, and they're not really complete, they're half, 50-50, I tend to reach that point where I start thinking of it man, it's a lot of empty halves. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I always feel, and that's what causes my depression, if that makes sense. That's one of the causes I've kind of found out, but it's different for everyone, but the cause might have a different cure, and you never know. I think places like location, mindset. Some people have a strong mindset; they'll just find a way to fix it. Some people need help. So yeah, I think it's just different for everyone.